Hello everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to see what is happening with Palantir and the recent news around it. Let's get started. So this is an article that came out from this group called Migrants' Rights in the United Kingdom, and it's called No Palantir in Our NHS. It's saying that Migrants' Rights Network is joining, so it has about 50 organizations of the similar kind who are joining this campaign to get US security tech corporation Palantir out of NHS. And if you go to Twitter and look into their page, so they have about 410 likes, about 300 retweets. And if you look into this hashtag no Palantir, you'll see quite a bit of people retweeting this, about 611, 860 likes, no Palantir, no NHS. And so it has caught up a kind of a wildfire right now. And even the mainstream media like CNBC picked up where the campaign launches to try to force Palantir out of Britain NHS. So let's understand what this is all about. And to understand this, let's get started from where this whole story began. And that is from March of 2020 when COVID began. Let's get into it. So on the March 12th, the Palantir they started a contract with the NHS for Foundry data management. And that was for only £1. So $1.27. So Peter Thiel and Palantir, they've made a contract with NHS to start or just to show what can they do with the COVID-19. And think about it. This is March of 2020. COVID has just begun. The majority of the organizations, majority of the government people, they don't even know what needs to be done or how big this could become. And Palantir-like company came in and they said, we will crack this problem for you. We will give the solution for you. And they started off this contract with £1. And they started doing it. And after a few months, and once they showed up what they could provide, what services that could be provided, the contract was then extended for another £1 million for another 3 months with an expiry date of August 3rd. So imagine the power of Palantir at this point. Now, this is an article from BBC where they're talking about how NHS needed an important and was very much needed a company that could help in tracking this COVID-19 issue. But this is from the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock. And this person is important because he's going to be referred in the next few topics that we're going to be talking about. He's saying, this was big in the beginning, so right around March of 2020. So this was 26th of March 2020 when this article came out where he's talking about every hospital is going to be thinking, have we got enough ventilators? Well, we need to keep ours because who knows what's going to happen. And that might not be the optimal allocation of ventilators, explained a source in one of the tech companies involved. Without a holistic understanding of how many we have got, where they are, who can use them, who's trained, where do we actually have patients who need them most urgently, we risk not making the optimal decisions. So he gives an important point about why he needed it. Now he's talking about this particular system would be helping in what ventilators are being used and where, levels of staff sickness, patient occupancy levels. And the reason I'm reading this is because this shows what all Palantir did for them already. And this was just the beginning. This is a new company who went into the new sector for them, and they came up with this solution for them already. What ventilators are being used, where levels of staff fitness, patient occupancy levels of hospitals broken down by general beds, capacity, length of stays of patient with the COVID-19, and then using that information to understand how the virus is spreading at a local level in order to identify risk to particularly vulnerable populations, proactively increasing resources in emerging hotspots, ensure critical equipment is supplied to the facilities with the greatest need, divert patients to the facilities that are best able to care for them based on demand, resources, and staff capacity. So this is all Palantir came in and provide the resources. Imagine COVID-19 is a problem which no one has even thought about in the beginning. No one even anticipated something like this, and they already had a solution for them. Now, organizations like Open Democracy, the organization that we saw earlier, Migrants' Rights, these are nothing but very much similar to what Open Democracy does. There are a couple of other organizations in the United Kingdom who does a similar job, and they started off coming up and they said, we need answers about the 5-year NHS data deals with big tech companies and all this. So they have been attacking the NHS. Until so far, they were attacking the NHS, and they were talking about, they were giving out warnings to NHS. They're talking about cut the deal or open the deal or make the deal Palantir, because you're talking about sharing all this patient and healthcare information with an outside company, a US-based company, and open up about it. So they started off with these warnings that came out, then they directed towards NHS. And in response to that, I mean, it's not just a response. If you just look into their website, if you go to the Open Democracy and just search for the word Palantir, you'll find this 43 results in Palantir. We're all talking about the negative aspects about Palantir for them, about NHS. So they're trying to talk to their audience, whoever their audience is, and talking about how Palantir is harmful for them, how the data mining company and all the problems that can bring for them. So this is something which is going on for a long time now. What event you see right now is nothing but just a new angle from them angle. But this has been something going on for a long time. And NHS knows about it. NHS has been receiving these legal warnings and everything from the Open Democracy and their like. But on the 23rd of December, Palantir signed a $31.5 million deal with UK. This was a 2-year contract, which is supposed to go from December of 2020 to December of 2022. And this is something which Palantir already signed and is in effect, and Palantir is working for the NHS in these services. And the contract itself is interesting because back in August and September, NHS needed a new company, a new tech company that could help analyze and that could help extend the services of Palantir, because Palantir there was just a processing company. It was using other companies like Amazon, Microsoft, even Google for helping with all this data management and understanding the data for COVID-19. Palantir was just a data processing hub. It was taking the data from Amazon, through Amazon's cloud services, from Google's cloud services. Google later on dropped, even Microsoft Azure services were provided, and Palantir was that central brain which was using all this information from all these different sectors, different areas, and then collectively processing the data so that the officials could use it. So NHS needed another company that could help with Palantir's information, but there was no other company who could do it. There was no other organization that was equipped as much as Palantir to do it. So Palantir itself won the contract for managing its data. And that's something which the 31.5 million deal is all about. Then this thing came up. In 24th of February, NHS faced a legal action against the same company, the Open Democracy, the same organization, Open Democracy. The NHS is being taken to court over its contract with controversial US data from Palantir. This is Open Democracy and some other firms along with it. But come down to this article, and this article is from BBC. So come down to the bottom portion of this, you'll see Open Democracy and Foxglove are crowdfunding £60,000 for the cost of the case. Any remaining funds will be split between them. So this is something interesting to look into, and just keep in mind of that. So they filed a legal action against NHS, basically to canceling or to dropping the contract or opening up the contract for them. And now they came up with this particular article. This was on 30th of March. This article came on when? The dates are important because 24th of February is when when they're talking about having this legal action against NHS. And this is Open Democracy's page where they're talking about, we have won our lawsuit over Matt Hancock's 23 million NHS data deal with Palantir. So they're talking about, yes, how Open Democracy won and NHS and Palantir has gone. And this is basically for their audience. Now come down to this article. This is on the 21st of March, and again from BBC. The reason I'm commenting is because this is all from genuine and reliable sources, not just investor plays or what. But they are coming from BBC, and you're talking about NHS says future deals will be transparent. Okay, now come down to this section where it is talking about, this is the line from Open Democracy. It's talking about how facing our lawsuit, the government has finally caved. They have pressed pause, committing not to extend Palantir's contract beyond COVID without consulting the public. Just read between the lines. They're talking about committing not to extend Palantir's contract. What about the contract that is there in there? They couldn't do anything about it. The contract is in place. If they had some ground, that contract would have been thrown out. But the contract is still in place. And they're talking about how they won by saying COVID and that the contract will not be extended without the consulting of the public. But what are you doing about the contract in its place already? So yeah, now come down to this particular thing. This is the most interesting thing, a spurious claim, but the NHS told the BBC the contract had not been paused and said proper checks would have always been conducted before extending the parameters of the Palantir's role. A spokesman said Open Democracy have had to drop their court case unilaterally. So Open Democracy was the one who lost it, not NHS. Open Democracy have had to drop their court case unilaterally, as it was apparent even to them that the NHS has always acted in accordance with the legal responsibilities. They therefore stood no chance of succeeding in their completely spurious claims. Far from winning this case, they had no choice but to drop it when they realized they hadn't a leg to stand on. This is from NHS and posted on the BBC website. So if you're seeing all this information, and if you know that you have already lost with NHS, then what is the concept behind this particular event? Is it again that 60,000 that you loaded from your crowdsource fund, the 60,000 crowdfunding? Is it again? Because so far it was this article, you mentioned that you won the court case against NHS and Palantir. This was on the 30th of March. And now you're starting a new event talking about no Palantir and now NHS. Then what is this case about? What did you win about? So yeah, just something interesting to look into. Now, a few things about Palantir in terms of the healthcare services. Well, now this was back in 2010, and Haiti, when they had an earthquake, cholera had erupted, and Palantir was used back then as well. This was back in 2010, combating the cholera outbreak in Haiti. This is from Palantir's website. You can look into this particular, where it says the U.S. Centers of Disease, the CDC, and other U.S. government and international organizations intervened to help with the cholera outbreak, working with the Haitian government to contain the outbreak. As the crisis unfolds, CDC relied on open source data for situational awareness due to the limited availability of official data from the field. Now, this is where Palantir came and helped. The CDC required a platform to combine this open source information, including Twitter, blog posts, websites, and SMS messages with official epidemiological data for the field in order to analyze all data in a single environment. That's how Palantir helped them back in 2010. And this is another interesting thing. This is very much more recent, and where Babylon, this is another startup, and this is a healthcare startup. This is backed by Palantir currently, and this is out in the United States as well. And this is a company which is talking about having different types of healthcare services. It has a mobile phone app which is helping in data managing and data processing. Now, this is a SPAC currently. Now, Ali Parsa, who is the founder of this Babylon company, he's talking about some of the technology Palantir owns. Nobody has brought that into the realm of biology and healthcare. Their knowledge of data and our knowledge of healthcare can overhaul what we could do together. We wanted to take the day-to-day biometrics of the human body and be able to construct a more preemptive image by building a digital twin of each of us. Just showing what all different angles Palantir is expanding themselves in different industries, different sector. So yeah, just interesting to share with you. With that, take care, stay safe, bye-bye.